Okay, here we are, folks. It is round 7 of the 2021 AWRCS Racing Series. Just kidding. I'm not an announcer. I'm this driver right here on the Can-Am Renegade 1000R Xxc 2021.
Shut them down, guys.
This is my second race of all time. My first race 3 weeks ago. I lasted 1 minute before I flipped it and broke the steering stem clear off. I got a video of me replacing that. I replaced I put the Flex handlebars on too. The row ahead of us is about to take off. I had one goal during this race, well, two. One was to have fun. Two was to finish it. Okay, no, I had 3 goals. 3 was to learn as much as I could. All right, I'm new to this thing. But I'll tell you what, I did have fun. I did finish it for the most part. Until my last lap where my A-arm snapped completely. I'm still not sure where in the race I cracked it, but once it broke, I was done. So I had to ease my way back to the pits. I lasted about 2 hours. I lasted 2.5 laps.
Shut them down, guys.
I ended up getting second place, shockingly.
Yep, be safe, buddy.
But this was a tough track. And so a lot of people's quads didn't make it. A lot of people physically couldn't make it past the first lap. You gotta be an athlete. Okay, let's watch takeoff. Here we go.
Seconds.
And I'm off! Last. No, not quite last. There were 7 of us in total. So I'm 4th right now. We got Aaron right in front of me, Dan in front of him. We got Timothy leading. Timothy started out just to my right on the line. Gave me a fist bump, told him to be careful because last time I ran right into him on the first bottleneck. And then I tried to avoid running into him on the next bottleneck, and that's when I flipped. I got that video up if you want to check it out. I'll put it in the description. And by the way, if anybody's got any good tips on how I can start this machine faster, what I can modify so that it starts faster, put it in the comments. Because my machine starts really slow on the electric start. I don't know what everybody else did in that race to start so much faster. It's not just the takeoff, it's the actual starting of it. I just heard the next line take off. So they're about 1 minute behind us. But they will catch up to us, a bunch of 450s. Those guys are a lot faster than the utility class on this track. They're not as top heavy, they're lighter. And there's also the experience factor, but overall they're just faster. They tend to get stuck more. That's pretty clear. They got 2-wheel drive. I can get through a whole lot more with mine. Right now I'm pretty happy I haven't crashed yet. I'm actually having some close calls with some of these trees. I do end up whacking a little tree with my left tire. I'm not sure if that's when my A-arm cracked or not. There was another time that I smashed into a trench and that might have been it as well. tell you one thing, it's awfully hard to steer a quad when it's flying through the air. So you really want to learn your machine, how it handles on the little jumps and turns. And I did cut up this video quite a bit. It's only a half hour of footage here. It was 2 hours. I cut it down. Anytime I'm doing the same looking track for quite a while, I sort of cut some of that stuff out. I try to get most of my interaction with other people on here. Now I can see up ahead of me is Dan. And I'm catching up to him. I can hear the other racers behind me. And they're going to be wanting me to get over for etiquette here soon. Which I will. I try not to be rude. But there is some type of balance, you know. I'm going to race myself, but I don't want to hold those guys up if they're a lot faster than me. So I get over as soon as I can. Oh, just past Dan. And I don't see Dan for the rest of the race. He mentioned that he sort of had a crash. I don't know the details on that. But he did crash. He came up over a hill and somebody else had crashed and he ran into them. And that's unfortunate. He had to vacate the race. But luckily he didn't sustain any serious injuries. I just spoke with him the other day on the phone, so he seems to be doing all right. He's looking to do some upgrades with his machine before the next one. And hopefully I can get mine fixed up if my parts can come in fast enough. And I'll see him out to what's called the Forest out in Pennsylvania. If I forgot to mention, we're in Clintonville, Pennsylvania for the back to school race, they call it. I love racing in Pennsylvania so far. I like the terrain, I like the mountainous area, the ups and downs all around. And of course AWRCS, they figure out how to make a nice trail through there as well. This track was a lot of fun. I remember thinking, oh, there's Aaron. What are you doing, Aaron? I guess he was having trouble with his fan. So I hope he's got that fixed for the next race. See a lot of that. But once they're off, they're off. But anyways, I was thinking during this, I was like, wow, AWRCS does a really good job with their tracks, man. It's a really fun time. There's a lot of diversity in it. You're going through the trees. You even go through an open field at some point. I don't have really good footage of that. Okay, so I'm letting somebody pass for etiquette, right? And it's Aaron. Oh, and it's Jamie. Jamie on the Polaris Sportsman 500. He is cooking with grease. And I hit a tree. That's the first one. I wouldn't doubt if I cracked my A-arm right there. But it worked for me for another couple laps. It gets worse toward the end where I start feeling a wobble. I got these 450 just nipping at my heels. So much faster, you gotta let them through sometimes. I almost wish they'd start them farther back or put the utility quads in the back. Who knows, maybe I'm just super duper slow. Maybe it's just me. I'm sure that's a lot of it. I accept that. I'm here to learn. This is my second race, and I'm telling you, I'm having a blast. And I learned a lot. I could have gone faster, especially in certain locations. Sometimes it's just best to be safe, though. It's real easy to blow your tire out, as you'll see coming up. Right there. That's Jamie. Look at his tire. I don't know what all is wrong with that. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but he's obviously got a flat tire, and it looks like his whole front end is shoved back. Catching up to Aaron here. I give him a little shout out. He doesn't seem to want to talk right now. He's off. He's off. Off to the races. Jamie, or Aaron, come back. Come back, buddy. I want to race you. Wait for me. Pretty sure I pushed him through that one. Aaron won first place. He ended up winning first place in this. He's the only one who did 3 laps, even with his breakdown. He ended up fixing it and then going back out and finishing. So he got 3 full laps. That's more than anybody. You're gonna see it starts to get real muddy in some of these spots. My quad is gonna be covered with like 2 inches of mud by the end of this. The only part that wasn't covered is where my butt was on the seat and my legs, that's it. And by the way, I try to keep my butt off the seat, because as soon as you come down on that seat off a little jump, it goes right through your spine. And that is not good for anybody. And of course, these 450s are just zooming past me on this straightaway before they enter the woods up here and get stuck right away. And then of course, a little bit later, they pass me again. But here we go. Okay, I sat here for entirely too long before I figured out that I should put it in reverse and find a new route. This was a big bottleneck. Okay, where can I go? All right, I see a route. Thankfully, nobody was right behind me because they don't have reverse on their machines. That's another advantage I have. I got a reverse. I used it probably 6 times during the race. And wrong way. Wrong way sign right there. Oh, great. It looked like the right way.
Wrong way.
Now I'm trying to tell this guy so he don't get behind me. Very deceiving. Very. That's the only wrong way sign I've ever seen. Maybe because I didn't go the wrong way that many times. But there isn't always a sign. It probably was a trail at one point. And we're off. Just having a blast. This is pretty tight through here. How many front ends have gotten snagged in this area? And he's stuck. I think I'll go around, bud. Now we're starting to play in the mud. It had rained for like 2 days straight prior to this. The night before it was raining, pouring rain. And you know what? I'm kind of happy about it. Because it's not like the entire trail was muddy, just a lot of it. So I hear someone behind me. I'm trying to let him pass. There he goes. All right. And the track's getting slicker as the race goes on. And those brutal rocks right there are not going away. There I kind of whacked a tree. It was always the left tire too. I was really surprised I didn't get a flat, to be honest with you. I've been happy with these whole shot tires that come from the factory. Right on to Can-Am. I put a lot of air in them, hoping that that'll help them bounce over the jagged rocks. There's a lot of jagged rocks out here that you can't really tell in this video, especially in the mud. These rocks were shaped like if you were to take a concrete driveway and bust it up, and then take the jagged chunks and then throw them in the mud. That's the kind of rocks that were out here. And it was vicious on a machine. I hit them the wrong way a couple times, but my tire made it. Timothy's tire, on the other hand, he got a flat and wasn't able to finish. I think he only finished one lap before he, maybe 1.5 laps before he blew out his tire. And Jamie, of course, you already seen him. He busted his tire and something else. His front end really looks shoved back. I think he whacked a tree. Okay, right here. That doesn't look like a big deal, but the way I came off that little bridge, my butt was on the seat, and when I hit, it hurt in my spine. And I felt the warmth in my spine afterwards. So, again, I recommend keep your butt off the seat. It's not worth it. Blow out your spine. Oof. So on these straightaways, I was trying to get to the outside because they are kind of whooped out. With my heavier machine, it wants to eat every time I hit a bump. So I'm still trying to figure out how to go as fast as I can with my machine on those whoops. Because it's not like I can just rear back and just bounce the front end across them. Well, maybe I can, but I haven't quite got it down. This mud was fun, I gotta tell you. But those rocks in there were so nasty. They were big and jagged. You try to avoid most of them, but sometimes you can't. And somebody's stuck in the creek. Now it's hard to see, but there's actually a little bridge on that. And I think he came off from it. I give those guys props for what they can get through with those two-wheel drives sometimes. And the stuff they gotta fight through. I definitely would have got stuck a few times without four-wheel drive, especially going uphill in the mud. Oh, this pit was eating everyone. Just eating quads alive. Okay, right there is where I probably finished off my A-arm.
Hit the kill switch on accident.
My hand hit the kill switch bracket as well, and it forced it downward. Had a sore thumb from that one for a few days. And then I hit really hard right there too. I think that was probably my broken A-arm talking to me.
That tire's done good so far.
I've been happy with these whole shot tires that come factory though. They seem to be pretty good. They didn't go flat on me. That's a plus. I'm thinking about getting some of those tire spines so that even if I get a hole punctured, I can still finish a race. If anybody that's watching this knows anything about those, if they've experienced using them and they like them, leave a comment, please, because I'm curious how well those work. Here we come trackside. I'm gonna give it a little shout out to my wife, tell her I love her. She's been real good to me, been real supportive. She was feeling pretty iffy about this race, especially after the first race when she told me to take it easy, and I took off and I flipped it within a minute of the race. So this is my second race. I'm trying to prove to her that I will finish this race without crashing, which I succeeded in. However, I did break the quad still. They're scoring. They don't want you to go too fast through there. They got a little chip that goes on your helmet and it reads what place you're in. And in case that electronic goes down, they keep track by hand. Now this area here had a lot of roots popping out of the ground. And those can really present a challenge when you're trying to get over them and they're sending you in different directions. Plus this is on the side of a hill. And right here, this is a bottleneck and there was nowhere to go around in this area. Where you wouldn't have been worse off by trying it. Okay, coming up here, there's Timothy. He's got a flat tire. I think that's from one of the rocks. He was doing real good too. He had one of the fastest first lap times. He didn't make it all the way through his second lap. Aaron had the fastest lap time on the first one. It was about 42 minutes. Timothy's time was about 43 minutes, and mine was just over 44 minutes. And a rider's quad burnt right to the ground. This was a very unfortunate event, because as most of you are aware, insurance doesn't cover these race quads. But they set up a donation cup, and I think they got quite a bit from that, so I'm happy about that. And it's right there that it's plainly obvious to me that something is really messed up with my steering, my handling. Something's going on with my front end. I'm starting to feel wobbly. I look at my tire, sure enough, it's completely cocked out. I could barely get over without losing control. And that rider drove by and he said, "Wheel bearing." So he had me thinking it just might be, but no, it was the control arm. All right, folks, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you got any comments, suggestions, or questions, leave it down below. And until next time, cheers.